A quiet afternoon in suburban Georgia. Marcus Carter, a sharp-dressed black real estate agent, stood on the porch of a luxury home, thumbing through his phone. He had the key, the listing details, and two excited clients on the way. Everything was routine until it wasn't. From behind a curtain across the street, Susan Matthews frowned. A man she didn't recognize was unlocking the door to the Jacksons' old place. No moving truck, no friendly wave. Just him, alone. She picked up the phone. "Yes, I'd like to report a break-in." Marcus, oblivious to the watching eyes, stepped inside. The house was immaculate. Polished hardwood floors, granite countertops, the faint scent of citrus cleaner. He moved with practiced ease, laying out brochures and adjusting the blinds. This was his favorite part, imagining the life his clients could build here. He had come a long way from his childhood in South Atlanta. Raised by a school principal and a nurse, Marcus had grown up hearing, "You have to work twice as hard to get half as far." He had taken that to heart. Now, he wasn't just a top agent. He was a gate opener, helping black families move into neighborhoods once closed to them. Outside, tires screeched. Two police cruisers roared into the quiet street, sirens blaring. Marcus looked up. "Step outside with your hands up." Confused, Marcus froze, then slowly obeyed. He stepped out onto the porch, key still in hand, heart pounding. "I'm a real estate agent," he said evenly, holding up his ID. "This is a scheduled showing. My clients will be here any minute." But the officers weren't lowering their hands from their holsters. A neighbor called it in. "Said you were breaking in." "I have the key. You can check. We're verifying." "Keep your hands where we can see them." For a moment, the air between them vibrated with something unspoken. Marcus had done nothing wrong, but his suit didn't matter. His comm didn't matter. His badge didn't matter. His skin did. As the tension simmered, a car pulled up to the curb. Andre and Vanessa Mitchell, his clients, stepped out, both dressed smartly, smiles ready. But the moment they saw the squad cars and Marcus on the porch flanked by two officers, their smiles faltered. "Marcus," Vanessa called, uncertain. The situation didn't make sense, yet it made all the sense in the world. Andre stepped forward, his voice low. "Everything okay?" Before Marcus could answer, one of the officers turned. "Do you know this man?" "He's our agent," Andre replied, jaw tightening. "We're here to see the house." There was a silence, brief but loaded, the kind that reveals more than it hides. Susan watched from her window, arms folded, lips tight. She hadn't expected other black faces to show up, hadn't imagined that she might have been wrong. The officer looked between Marcus and the couple. "Can we confirm your appointment?" Marcus exhaled slowly. "My calendar's in the car." The second officer followed him down the steps, eyes still sharp, while the first remained on the porch, now watching Vanessa and Andre like they too might be part of something suspect. Inside Marcus's chest, something began to harden. Not fear, but familiarity. He had been here before. Not exactly here, but close enough, mistaken, questioned, doubted. Always doubted, that'd be why the time they returned with confirmation. The moment had already soured. Marcus knew it. So did his clients. The home was beautiful, but the welcome mat had been pulled out from under them. As the officers nodded and stepped away, one of them muttered, "Sorry, just doing our job." Marcus didn't respond. Not because he hadn't heard, but because he'd heard it too many times before that he turned to his clients, forcing a small, weary smile. "You ready for the tour?" They hesitated. Vanessa looked up at the house. "Still want to go inside?" she asked softly. Andre glanced at Marcus. "Yeah, but not just for the house." The three of them stepped inside together, past the threshold where appearances had once dictated assumptions. But something else now hovered over them, something Marcus couldn't shake. Back across the street, Susan's phone buzzed. A message from her neighborhood group chat lit up the screen. "Anyone know what's going on at 18 Willow Lane? Cops just pulled up." She typed back quickly. "Just a misunderstanding. Everything's fine now." But it wasn't fine. Not really. Not for Marcus. Not for the Mitchells. And not for the dozens of others who would one day walk into that neighborhood with the same dream, only to meet the same silent wall. Inside the house, Marcus led the way through the kitchen. His words were measured, but something had shifted behind his eyes. He had spent years opening doors for others. But now he was beginning to wonder, was the cost of entry ever really enough? And what happens when the key no longer opens more than just the front door? Before Marcus could reply, the front door across the street burst open. Susan Matthews stepped out, arms crossed tightly, her face set in rigid defiance. "I did what anyone else would do," she called out. He was acting suspicious. "There have been break-ins around here." Marcus turned slowly. "Suspicious," he repeated, the word heavy in his mouth. He'd heard it before, dressed in concern, wrapped in fake caution. But it always meant the same thing. "You don't belong here." "Suspicious because I used a key?" "Because I'm black." Susan faltered, mouth open, but no words came. She just folded her arms tighter, standing firm as though her fear could justify everything. Despite Marcus holding his Realtor badge, despite his clients, Andre and Vanessa, standing beside him, the officers weren't satisfied. "We need to verify this with the homeowner," one said. Marcus's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone and called Mr. Caldwell, the property owner. "Marcus? Everything okay?" Caldwell's voice buzzed through the speaker. "Not really. Police are here. They need to confirm I'm your listing agent." "What? That's absurd. Give him the phone." Marcus handed it over. The officer stepped aside. The call was short. When he returned, he gave Marcus his phone. "He confirms you're the agent," the officer said. But he didn't move. Instead, he asked, "How long have you been in real estate?" Marcus inhaled slowly. Even now, after proof, he was being vetted like a fraud. Vanessa crossed her arms, her earlier excitement gone. Andre shifted, eyes hard on the officers. This wasn't just about Marcus. It was about all of them, reminded again that respectability offered no immunity. Neighbors had begun to gather on porches. Some whispered, some simply stared. A spectacle, confirmation, entertainment. Then came the soft click of a phone camera. Someone was recording. Minutes later, a silver sedan pulled up. A woman stepped out, press badge around her neck. A local journalist. "What's going on here?" she called. The mood shifted instantly. The officers hesitated. Her presence meant accountability. The journalist moved quickly, notebook out, questions forming. And soon, the story unraveled. Susan Matthews wasn't new to this. Her name appeared in past police records, calls about suspicious people, a delivery driver, a teenager, a father waiting in his car. All black, all suspicious. Susan always used the same excuse. "I was being cautious." But the journalist wasn't buying it. Not this time. The officers, aware now that they had been manipulated, grew uneasy. What had felt like a routine stop now teetered into public relations disaster. They had drawn their weapons, questioned Marcus, delayed a legal showing, based solely on a bias call. Marcus had been patient, calm. But now, with the flashing lights, the public gaze, and humiliation still burning in his chest, he finally spoke. "If I were white, we wouldn't be having this conversation." The words cut through the air. Susan flinched, recovering with a defensive bark. "That's not true. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood." "What exactly did you see that was threatening?" the journalist asked, eyes narrowed. "A man using a key? Or just a black man standing in a house that didn't look right to you?" Susan opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked around, but this time no one backed her up. The neighbors who once watched silently now began to murmur. Some shook their heads. Others looked away. The officers said little. One gave a terse nod. "You're free to continue your showing." But the moment had already passed. Andre took Vanessa's hand. "Let's go," he said quietly. "This isn't the house." Marcus nodded, lips pressed tight. As they walked to their car, the journalist followed. "Do you mind if I get your name?" she asked Marcus. "Marcus Carter," he said. "Real estate agent. Black man. Professional. Target." The journalist scribbled, then looked up. "I'll be in touch." Later that night, the video hit social media. It was shared, reposted, analyzed. Hashtag showing while black, it was called. A conversation sparked. Susan Matthews would be remembered, not as a neighborhood watch hero, but as a symbol of something darker. And Marcus Carter? He showed another house the next day. But this time, when he walked up the driveway, he wasn't just holding a key. He was carrying the weight of a story, and the hope that next time Someone might see him before they judged him.